In the last episode, the Troopy was cut open and received its rooftop conversion. On top of that, we also mounted a 270-degree awning.
Alright, it's finally time to build the kitchen aisle. And because most of the design was influenced by my decision to go with an upright fridge instead of a box basically, the first thing I did, I went outside and bought myself a 65-liter upright fridge. So now we can unpack that and finally start building. I've put the fridge in for a very first test fit and I have to say I really like it. The good thing is I actually can reach things still from the outside of the car, so while I'm cooking I just can grab the butter or whatever I want, which is a great thing. Next step is to build the inside cabinet space, and as everybody knows, inside dry storage space is absolute premium real estate in an overland vehicle like this. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to utilize that sidewall cavity in here and make that storage space extend all the way to the back wall there. For that we have to get rid of the vent first. So the drinking water tap is mounted, and the second one is purely for washing the dishes. That's why I chose a shower head basically with a press button. Hopefully so it's saving water a little bit and it's nice effective to get rid of soap. Unfortunately that faucet didn't come with any logical mounting equipment, so I built this little box here that in-houses it, and of course has a really nice cover plate that goes on like this and can be mounted there.
Nice.
So this will become located here, and then hopefully you can put this inside here and use it either on the sink or even outside of the Troopy if you want to.
So this is where the water comes out, but where does the water go in?
This is still just a mock-up, but this is roughly how the water filler will look like. Obviously I only can install this properly once I have my Gullwing window in, so it's nice and flush. But here's gonna be the water filler straight into the tank. finally it's here. This is a Gullwing window for the front right driver side, and I've been waiting for this for about 8 weeks now. The important bit is that because I didn't have this, I couldn't continue with the kitchen or the electrical cabinet over there, because the exact placement of this defines the shape of the bench top, of the kitchen top, and next to it the electrical cabinet. So I'm super stoked it's finally here and we can start mounting it.
1, 2, 3, funk it. My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
The kitchen aisle is coming along pretty good, but now I'm basically waiting on parts like the sink and certain latches and so on to continue the work. So in the meantime, I'm going to be working on the large cabinet here. The idea is basically that it's going to go all the way up to the sleeping platform to maximize the storage space. It will be accessible from the outside with the Gullwing window that I'm going to be installing here instead of the regular window, so it can in-house the shower, for example, or certain camping gear. Bottom of it is going to in-house all the electronics for the Troopy, and the middle part is basically going to be closet space. So let's get to it. Here's what I'm planning. This is going to be the enclosure for the 12-volt system. Later on, all nice marine carpet. Here's going to be the DC-DC charger. Isolation switch, very important. The inverter goes up here. 2 large fuses, one for the compressor, one for the inverter. And the main fuse box panel. Gonna be here, and another one down here. Those feed-throughs for the cables. 2, even though I don't need it, because always remember, if you design or build a system like this, always allow for at least 50% extra or redundancy, because you will need it in the future. And then we have some space up here in case we need to do any relay switching. Alright, next step, marine carpet.
now that the water supply system is pretty much installed and the preliminary bench top for the kitchen has all the holes cut inside for the sink and the different faucets and everything is laid out as I wanted, we can transition to making the final bench top. For that I bought a piece of hardwood, which we're gonna cut to size to perfectly fit the new kitchen setup. The only downside is that these things are awfully heavy, and we will do something about this later on, but for now, first I need to cut it to size.
Alright, the bench top is cut out and it's still quite a little bit heavy, too heavy for my liking. So I turn it upside down, and what I'm going to try is that I'm actually going to take a tabletop router and just take, in slits, just material out of the bottom, because in reality I really don't need it structurally to be 19 mil thick. So I'm just going to try to thin it out a little bit and take a little bit of weight out of the tabletop. Let's see how it goes.
Now with the Gullwing in place, I was finally able to finalize the exact shape of the kitchen top counter. I also added this additional edge along the far end of it, just so I don't have any water or dirt basically running behind the kitchen top. I also added this vent here for the fridge underneath, so it can basically suck from their fresh cold air and doesn't recirculate its own hot air underneath. Now, as everything, of course, I'm going to varnish the whole plate to make it last nice and long. Closet space, electrical, more closet space, and well, it's not quite done yet. Here you see where all the second battery is and the 12-volt setup. Travel oven and the pantry. Extra storage space underneath, and of course for the cooking utensils and pans, and fridge. Right on top of the fridge, slider for the different chopping boards.
Here are 2 tips for you. I used 6mm marine plywood for these latches just to save a little bit of weight. Unfortunately, that's not thick enough, as after a couple of months these latches started warping. So I would recommend to go at least with a 9mm plate here. Also, to hold the latches in place, I use these kind of ball spring fasteners. I do not recommend them, as they tend to fall apart after a couple of 100 kilometers of bad corrugations. Instead, I much rather recommend these hook type latches. In the next episode, we will build a drop-down table, we will work on the winch and make a new roof rack.